What's going on? This is Second to None. Week 1 is in the book, guys. I'm telling you, what a day of college football. I don't know about you guys, but it felt really, really good to just have football back on Saturday afternoons. Good afternoon. I'm your host, Michael, and this is Second to None. And we're just going to have a great show today. We're going to be covering week 1 of football, and we're going to just have a really great time. So with that being said, I want to welcome all my guests on right now who come together and help me with this show. We are going to have a good time today talking SEC football. It is the number 1 conference in football. That's not without secret. We all know it. Gentlemen, what's going on? Starting with you, George. What's good?
Oh, man, I'm doing fantastic. Week 1 is in the books, and I'm ready to talk about it.
Let's go. Chris, what's good with you?
Well, I'll just start. I'm doing fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about week 1. I've got 2 games under my belt. I'm sitting at 2-0, top of the SEC. God. Things are perfect for me, bro.
Oh, my goodness, man. Underdog Indy, what's going on? Glad you made it back home, man. It was good meeting you this Friday night. Thanks for coming down to Nashville, Tennessee. What's going on with you?
I'm doing great. You know, I got up at 5 this morning to drive back. Definitely worth it, though. Nashville's a nice town. Met a lot of fans from Tennessee and Virginia. They were awesome. The football was great. The atmosphere was awesome. So thanks for having me.
I'm not really sure how you go for nice fans and Tennessee in the same sentence. So if I had the abilities to mute you, I would mute you. Hey, Cody, what's good?
Cody.
Hey, listen, that's an LSU fan
no.
for you right there.
Hey,
That's an LSU.
think about it. LSU in the transfer portal makes sense.
He's already thinking about it. Mike, how you doing? I know you out watching your daughter do some horse riding this weekend. Congratulations to her success that she had in the States.
Thank you very much. Yeah, at the Arkansas State Horse Show this weekend, and appropriately enough, my broadcast position is the swine barn. But yeah, my daughter, she's ran 3 events. She has a 5th place, a 2nd place, and a 3rd place, and she has 2 more tomorrow. So I'm pretty pumped.
I tell you what, that's a proud dad moment for you right there. So that's good. Well, look, I'm glad all you guys could join me out here today on Second to None. I always appreciate having you guys on and your thoughts and opinions. But hey, before we get started with our show today, we're gonna have a quick word from our sponsor, Farmer's Dog.
I'll always take care of you. Hey, little bear bear. You gonna be a good boy?
Don't worry, darling, about the rest of our lives.
From this day
Through thick and thin,
Come on, bear.
I'll be there by your side.
I'm gonna love you forever.
Hey, bear.
I'll be there.
So now with that, thanks for the ads from Farmer's Dog. Now we're gonna have our news takes with Chris. What you got for us?
So I don't know if anybody paid attention early in the season. However, the reports of Alabama's demise because of a lack of quarterback, I think is premature. Jason Milroe absolutely lit it up yesterday. First quarterback in school history to ever throw for 3 touchdown passes and rush for 2 touchdowns in the same game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and along those lines, SEC quarterback play yesterday was fantastic.
Yes.
You had Spencer Rattler going 30 of 39 for 359 yards. You had Jackson Dart throwing for 300 yards as well. KJ Jefferson looked fantastic, and by all accounts, Texas A&M, their quarterback, was also fantastic yesterday, going 18-23 for a passer rating of 127. Wegman looked really good. Another quarterback that played really well yesterday, Joe Milton. Yes, there were some drops yesterday. Those aren't his fault. I think those drops made his numbers look a little bit different. But as long as he played within himself, the short and intermediate passing game looked very good with Joe Milton. And we got to touch on it. The topic everybody in the nation is talking about. What about Coach Prime? Pulling off the come from behind win on the road against a team, say what you will, TCU was expected to be a good football team this year because of what they did last year. But, hey, they went on the road and knocked off the purple toads, purple power. Go for it. Prime did an amazing job getting that program competitive in a quick amount of time.
Yeah. And now, on piggyback what you just said, Chris, now I have a question on SEC Cube play. Now, it was spectacular, but do we think that it's the caliber that's needed to play once we get in the SEC?
I think several of those are.
Yeah.
Milrow for sure. I think Spencer Rattler, again, 30 of 39 against that defense.
Yeah.
And when I say that defense, they sacked him 9 times.
Yeah.
His offensive line was so bad, they only rushed for 2 yards as a team for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to
That's
be
horrible.
able to stand, and for him to be able to stand back there and put up the numbers he put up in the passing game,
Mm-hmm.
that tells me Spencer Rattler is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, man, it won't be long. I mean, we still got a couple more weeks before we have some really hard SEC matches up. And,
Right.
you know, when you get into that play, then that's when you separate the big boys from the little boys. And, you know, also about the Alabama quarterback, a lot of people all off season has been saying Alabama is just going to be trash. You know, a couple of days before the season even starts, they don't even have a quarterback name.
Yep.
So just for him to go out, Milroy to go out and play like he did last night, I, for one, was really impressed. So, you know, a lot of football to go, a lot of stuff to, you know, to continue to keep watching as we continue to dissect this and break this down for sure. But definitely, you know, we look forward to that. And with the Prime getting his win, just like you said, Chris, the whole nation is going to be they're going to dissect this thing 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways. And it's just, it looks good. Even for recruiting for those guys, you know, that's going to look good. So thanks, Chris. I appreciate that very much for that news update as well, too. So before we jump into some individual games that we as a group deemed that they were significant games, we're going to just look at the scores that went around SEC. These are the scores that we like to call, and everybody else, it's no secret, these are here was irrelevant games. You could pretty much say it. Arkansas defeated Western Carolina 56-13. Vandy beat Alabama A&M 47-13. Kentucky over Ball State 44-14. Ole Miss 73-7 over Mercer. But it was Mercer, so come on. It is what it is.
Right.
Auburn 59-14 over UMass. I'm pretty sure they gave Kenny a little smile. Mississippi State 48-7 over Southeast Louisiana. Georgia 48-7 over UT Martin. Texas A&M 52-10 over New Mexico. Alabama 56-7 over MTSU. Missouri 35-10 over South Dakota. So those are the scores that that the SEC took care of business this week. It looks like SEC was, well, I was about to say SEC was 14-0, but that ain't the case. We didn't go 14-0, unfortunately. Yeah, we didn't go. We're going to get into that Florida game too as well. They are the ones that let us down. What's up, Chris?
You mean to tell me that there's 2 teams in the SEC that are winless? And neither one of them's Vanderbilt?
My
God, the world's ending. Get me my championship ring, baby.
Listen, we said this in at the Golden Boot that every time that Chris says Vanderbilt, that you're either if you take a shot, you'll be dead because he talks about Vanderbilt so much. Anyway, go ahead.
I never met anybody that loved Vandy so much as Chris do. I mean, Chris, good luck to you. I don't know what to say to you, dude. I know.
And I have to take issue with one thing you said.
What?
And I'm going to quote you. It's Mercer. Now, I'm just going to say Mercer is better than Alabama A&M.
Yeah.
They're better than UMass. They're better than Southeast Louisiana. They're better than New Mexico. So why do you have to say it's Mercer when it comes to Ole Miss, but you don't say that for all these other teams?
because I mean, you get beat 73-3. You know, it's Mercer. I mean, it could have very well been Vandy. You know what I mean? So it could have been. Hey, Cody, our LSU guy just jumped on. Cody, how you doing today, man? It's really good that you was able to get back on. I know.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm good. My iPad decided to freeze up on me and essentially might be done forever. But besides that, I'm alive. I'm well. I'm here. I'm ready for some football tonight.
I got you. So appreciate that. So we are going to. I got an echo. Do you guys hear my echo?
Yeah, it's good. We got it.
Okay, it's good to go. So, look, we're gonna just get into some games that actually we thought mattered, and we're gonna kick it off with our first game that we're gonna kick it off with is with the Tennessee and Virginia. If I knew that Tennessee was gonna win as big as they did, I'm not sure if I would have put them on this list. But Chris, what are your thoughts? We was gonna have our Tennessee guy Dustin. Hope he has a safe drive home and everything today with his family. Chris, but what are your thoughts about the Tennessee game?
So I'm going to be objective and fair. I might ask Matt a couple questions because he actually went to the game.
That's true.
What I saw,
that's right.
So what I saw, Joe Milton, as long as he plays within the framework of the offense, he's really good. I don't think he has the running capability that Hendon Hooker had last year, but arm-wise, he's pretty good. Again, his receivers had some drops on the deep balls. I can't put that on him. They got their hands on the ball. You got to make those catches. That's on the receivers for dropping them balls. Offensively, on the offensive line, they started the backup center because Cooper Mays is out. Don't know how long he's going to be gone, but the guy they started was not very good. They did replace him at halftime, and his backup was actually much, much better. I think Tennessee's improved defensively, but I don't want to take this out of context because this is Virginia. They did go 3-9 last year, and it looks like Tony Elliott is setting that offense back by 100 years. It's not a good offense to run in college football, and it shows. They're not a very good football team. Credit Tennessee for taking care of business as they should have.
So I was actually going to comment on it myself, but why do I need to comment on it when we got someone who actually went to the game? Indy, you went to the Tennessee game yesterday. What was your thoughts on Tennessee? That I know you're a Missouri fan, but like, what was your thoughts from being at the ball game?
Well, I think they did really well. That it seemed like they had a lot of chemistry. Everybody was really into the game. I felt like I was in one of those dreamsicles because it was orange everywhere. And Tennessee did really good. Virginia, you could tell they were struggling right from the get-go. Tennessee scored right away. It was under like 2 minutes. So I knew this game was going to be pretty much a blowout from the beginning. And I mean, you gotta say something about Virginia. They went out there. That's about it. That's all I can say.
They showed
They did go out there.
Let me ask you a question, Indy. You mentioned before we went live, everyone knows Tennessee is a very fast-paced offense. Being at the football game, how was that to experience the speed of Tennessee and how fast they move up and down the field?
Holy mackerel. From the second that game started, it was non-stop. It was high octane. Those guys were literally on the ball within 10, 15 seconds. It was nuts. I'd never seen an offense run that fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
I think that's a statement of what Tennessee would like to do all year for all of its teams. I don't think it's any secret. Last year, they was a fast octane offense. So I for one look for them to continue that. I think Hypo down there has definitely got those guys going up and down the field at his pace. So we definitely look forward to seeing what those guys continue to do as the year rolls on. Of course, they're not going to beat Kentucky, but that's for another day. Absolutely. Hey, Chris and Indy, thank you guys so much for your takes on that game right there. We really appreciate it. Tennessee being Tennessee. What's up, Chris?
See, I can be objective when time calls for it.
Oh,
Hey, you are a professional.
You got to be a professional.
I know.
as one
Gotta be a
of your
professional.
colleagues, I appreciate you saying that, Chris. I don't believe it, but I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. Hey, it's good for TV, okay?
It is.
It's good for TV. That's all that matters.
That's good for TV. Absolutely.
It is.
Okay. Next, we're going to get into George and Cody. We're going to let those guys review the Utah and Florida game. I'm going to start with you, George, because it looks like you just bursting at the seams to get your thoughts out there. So what are you guys' thoughts on the Utah and Florida game?
Well, I tell you this. I think everybody in SECond2Nun were texting each other back and forth in the group about how awful Florida looked. I mean, this is the thing. You prepare all year long in camp. You do everything you can in practice, all this stuff, and this is what you put on the field against a top 25 opponent. That was my thing. I got to give a big old fat F to both Florida and Billy Napier, because your team reflects on the coach, and he had no energy. He had no. There was no butt chewings. It looked like he was. Oh, yep, we're here, and we're just going to take this L and go on home. You can see Florida just looked like they were out of sync the whole game. There was many different times where the quarterback was throwing in the wrong direction. Blocking was terrible. The offensive line was probably one of the worst I've seen this week, and that's saying something. Because I think Utah had 5 sacks in this game. 5 on a Florida offensive line. That is something you do not see every day. And if I had to literally think about how bad this looks, it looks like they took 4 steps backwards from last year. They look even worse this year than last year.
Yeah, it is really it's really odd to see a Florida team just go out there and play as flat as they did. I mean, it was really embarrassing to really see that. Cody, what you got?
Yeah, really just mirror what George said. My biggest thing that annoyed me, and pretty much was telling George and Chris this the entire night, was just the lack of emotion. You didn't see the players into it. It's almost as if they just did not care that they were there. I don't know if maybe travel was something to do with it or what it was, but it was just it was disheartening for sure. And you almost have to feel bad for the Florida fan base, which is kind of hard to do. But just overall, everyone was flat. Offensive line did not exist. They clearly do not have a good connection with Mertz. And this week, I think the biggest thing in practice outside of conditioning is going to be communication, because it's clear that there was no communication in that game.
Yeah, and something to add too, and this is something that I forgot about. Graham Mertz is not Anthony Richardson. The fact that Billy Napier didn't change up his scheme to more fit Graham Mertz is a testament of this coach. And I said it from the beginning, I'll say it again. He's on thin ice, and what he put on that field definitely put a target on his back for sure. But I really honestly feel the defense played well. I know that's what Chris is dying to say. The defense did play well in the second half. I will give it that. But Utah also changed up its scheme a little bit. They started playing a lot slower to run time off the clock. So you got to give them credit there. And Utah, I will give them credit. That is a top caliber team. But the one question I have to ask, and this could be rhetorical or somebody can answer it, what if Cam Rising was on that field? How much worse would this game be?
It would have been destruction, absolute destruction.
Yeah.
So I guess it's safe to say, you know, we mentioned about the Alabama quarterback situation, and everybody kind of downplayed it. It wasn't really all that good. So is it safe to say that Florida is just as bad as everyone thought they was going to be?
Absolutely.
Yes, I think so. If not worse.
I think it's a mix of
Worse.
things.
Worse.
I think
You think they worse, Mike?
Yes, sir. I think they're worse than what was expected. Now, I know Chris, as has been alluded, Chris is going to comment or praise their defense in the second half, but I did think, Florida they got manhandled, and I didn't think they would. I thought they'd lose, but not just come out just straight flat.
Yeah.
No, and like I said, those are all fair takes, but you get Florida's defense in a ball game against the Kentucky with the Devin Leary that looked out of place yesterday too. And you put that defense on the field against that offense, are you really going to say that Kentucky's the better team? I can't say that. That defense is going to cause people headaches in the SEC. That was a top 25 program that they played, a top 10 program, I should say. I think I think what you saw was more about Utah than it was about Florida.
Well, if the defense plays like it did in the second half, I will agree with you.
They played great in the first half.
I didn't think they played great in the first half. They were missing tackles. They were taking bad angles. It was all over the place.
They gave up one pass play for 70 yards where the receiver was double covered, and he just missed getting the interception. It went off his fingertips.
Well, Chris, here's what I'm concerned about for Florida's defense against SEC teams. Yeah, they gave up 65 yards against Utah, but if Florida's offense doesn't improve, that defense is going to be on the field a whole lot. They're going to be very tired.
And that is a fair take. So I think Florida's offense was a huge product of the Utah defense that has been a staple of that program for years. And, you know, I'm anxious to see what Florida can do against the SEC. I think defensively they're fine. If they, like I said, if they get into a game with a Devin Leary that doesn't look so hot, or a AJ Swan that can't hit the deep throws, you know, what's that going to look like?
Right.
As a Kentucky fan, I kind of take offensive to that. You keep throwing Devin Leary in there. You keep throwing Kentucky in there.
I threw my own quarterback under the
Well, yes, you did. All right, because I was so going to lay into you. I was going to let you have it, Vandy, because you got
the first one to say AJ Swan didn't look too good last night.
I got you. So yeah, either way, I mean, we could say it was Utah just being really good, but I mean, Florida, I mean, you just can't play that bad. So we'll have to wait and see what Florida does in week 2. I mean, they're going to be playing a major step down than Utah. So let's see if they can come out, regroup, show the nation that, hey, at least we can put a better product on the field, regardless of how low our opponent is. And let's go out and let's show people that we can move the ball and that our defense. But like Mike said, if the offense is horrible and the defense got to be on the field all day, it's going to be a long year for Florida. The offensive has definitely got, and I'm glad we didn't get that quarterback. I'll say that right off the bat. So I'm glad we got who we did. So, hey, thank you, gentlemen, for covering that. Next game we want to go ahead and cover is the. This right here was actually a fun game, and actually we probably got some fun comments for this too as well. Our next ball game we're going to cover will be the South Carolina and North Carolina game in the Mayo Dukes Classic. Yeah, and we're going to have Indy and Mike to cover that game. Mike, you look like you're ready to talk, so let's go.
I've got to eat some crow. Of course, it's this first game of the year, and I picked South Carolina as my underrated team.
That's right, you did.
Yes, sir. And hey, I'll own up to it. And if their offensive line can improve, they'll be all right. I think. Rattler threw for over 350 yards, had only 9 incompletions. Leggett had 178 yards, so he had a good game, no touchdowns, but he racked up a lot of yards receiving. 2 yards rushing for the team. Granted, that was coming off of 9 sacks. That's horrible.
13.
I mean, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't get fixed, and it's going to be a very, very long season for South Carolina and Beamer. And North Carolina was 8 of 13 on third downs, which I thought that was huge. South Carolina was 4 of 14.
Yeah.
So Beamer wants stats. There's another stat for you right there. They just they could not do anything when they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And again, is it North Carolina's defensive line or was it South Carolina's offensive line? Probably a little bit of both.
Probably. Indy, what you got?
Well, it was actually a really good game. I enjoyed it a lot. The defense for North Carolina, I thought, was very impressive. Yeah, North Carolina has a Heisman, quarterback. He's gonna be up there this year. He's gonna be in the top 3. He might even win it. So you got to go out there and you got to win these big games. So I think he was just showing his face and making sure that everybody remembers who he was. I was really happy with this one because Spencer Rattler spent about half the game on his back, sacks. So, it was entertaining, and I want to see another one.
That's it.
But
I think a lot of people.
May he didn't even throw for 300 yards. He threw for about 270, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I don't think he looked like a Heisman candidate. Now, when you get in the ACC and you play some of those defenses, I think you'll have probably more successful games. But I don't think he did anything special yesterday.
Yeah,
I thought he was fine, man. But then again, I'll take him over Brady Cook. So that's what it is.
You would take him over Cook?
Yeah, all day.
I got you.
I know somebody that disagrees with that statement wholeheartedly, but
let's not get into this one right here.
So, in these highlights, I noticed something. North Carolina got down on North Carolina got down on the goal line, and they snapped the ball before South Carolina could even get lined up.
Yeah, they had 13 players on the field.
That's true. But if SEC teams can go that quick against that team, you're going to cause problems.
Yeah, well,
there's game film on that now.
But the thing that stuck out to me is North Carolina punching it into the goal with 11 versus 13. How does that happen?
Yeah, I thought about that too. I was like, man, that guy's tough, man. Look at him go.
But it's on tape now. If you can go fast against these guys, you're going to cause your defense problems.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
And one thing that I noticed about the ball game is even let's talk about how Vandy would get blown out by both teams. Hey, don't blame me. I didn't say it. I just read it.
Producer, man, leave it to El Presidente with his freaking fireball comment.
Let me be objective here. Jeez. I've predicted Vanderbilt will win 7 games. You know who I didn't say that Vanderbilt's going to beat?
Who?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
That's one of the teams I don't think we match up well with.
Yeah.
I know you're a smart guy. One thing that I noticed is even at halftime, like the stats as far as like Spencer and Mays, like those stats was almost neck and neck at halftime.
Yes.
So I mean, it just that second half, I think, is when North Carolina just said we're a better team than these guys. I'm a better quarterback than Rattler was. Rattler, like you said, Rattler did have Spencer did have more yards than Mays did, but it was when it mattered the most when he put the ball in the right place, and Rattler wasn't able to. And I think that was the difference.
And South Carolina getting an onside kick to start the second half, and North Carolina's defense just shut them down. So that could have been a much different game had South Carolina been more successful on that drive. But North Carolina's defense just took over from that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're South Carolina, how do you respond to that? You had to wait for the chain gang, man.
Oh, I know. I've never seen that, and neither has the announcers. I saw that live.
I wish we had footage of that.
Well, here, you know what? I tell you what I take away from, and I know we're going to hear from Shane Beamer from a minute, but did y'all see before the game, the pregame of a grown man with his shirt off dumping a whole thing of mayonnaise on himself?
Yeah.
Every time I hear Duke's Mayo Classic, I think, who started that mess? That's the second year in a row. Take that off the TV, man. It's gross,
man.
It's
I hope nobody in Tennessee saw that because they're going to be dumping mustard on themselves now.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
But they won't be eating hot
Yeah,
dogs.
Dustin, that's to you, brother.
That's for you, Dustin. Good shout out. You should have been here today so you can defend yourself. But can we actually listen to what Shane Beamer had to say? Do we have that footage, or is that just a picture?
Not good enough. I mean, we got to. Do we have any stats? Anybody? It's kind of the story of the night. Clock was wrong the whole game. We're trying to kick an onside kick to start the second half, and we got to wait on the chain crew because they're eating a hot dog. That's the only disappointing thing about tonight. So I don't know what things came out to be statistically, but not good enough. Colin had our chances.
Well,
a
good hot dog is always good.
But if waiting on the chain gang to finish a stinking hot dog is the most disappointing thing of the entire night, I don't know what to think about that.
Look at my face. Did you see my face when we came back from that? I can't get my jaw off the ground. You just made so many excuses and didn't take any credit or give any credit to your own team for the poor effort against North. I mean, come on, man. That's just awful.
But
I guess
maybe the hot dog called a glizzy too. So,
But what kind of hot dogs were they?
They may have been pretty good hot dogs.
Were they
they
Franks?
might have been.
Were they Franks? Were there bars none? Were they
Gosh.
Oscar?
No, they
Mayer?
were Nathan's
National.
famous.
Ballpark.
Nathan's famous.
I
It's gotta
hope
be
they was Nathan's. If they was Nathan's,
Yeah.
then I completely understand. Yeah.
Send him to set.
Head coach inexperience. Send him to Saban Coaching 101.
Agreed.
Yep.
he might win then.
Agreed.
Had to wait on some stuff. Yeah. That is Beamer, man. Thank you.
Oh my
Thank you for
gosh.
making our life happy. We appreciate that.
Gosh. That'll be all over
That
the
is-
news for the rest of the week now. You guarantee it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
It just
That
just
reminds
makes
you
it-
remember that Jim Mora, the Jim Mora years ago playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Playoffs.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of.
Yeah, it's-
Playoffs. I
right.
just hope we can win a game.
So
Yep.
what
Anyway.
what I want is the audio of Mac Brown after they met at midfield and he reached out and grabbed Shane Beamer by the throat. Boy, I'm not
Hey,
done
boy.
with you yet.
That was interesting.
Oh boy,
That was
that was
interesting.
awesome.
I need that
See,
audio.
This is the kind of things that you get when two Carolina teams go at it. You know, you never know what you're going to get when those two
Right.
guys line up across the field. I mean, and they play.
Yeah.
It's something that to definitely be experienced. South Carolina, North Carolina. Good luck to you guys, for real. Finally, we're going to talk about there's one more game tonight, guys. One more game before week 1 football is over. LSU and FSU. What a heck of a game last year. It was like one to remember, and now we get to watch it again this year tonight. Cody, George, starting with you, Cody. What you got? This is your boys. Hey, what y'all gonna do, man? What y'all gonna do?
I really think we're ready. This team this year is the most talented team that Brian Kelly has coached in his entire coaching career. He brought in a lot of good transfers. A big name to watch out for tonight is Aaron Anderson. He transferred from Alabama. He's originally from Louisiana, and he's very fast. I'm not going to say he is, but he arguably is the fastest player in the SEC. And this guy, he's going to be returning kicks, returning punts. He's going to be a slot receiver. He's going to be everywhere on the field tonight. I'm obviously you have Malik Neighbors you have to watch out for, but I think the biggest difference maker tonight is going to be our just this the solidity that's in the linebackers and in the defensive backs. And there's a few new names on the team that you'll see. Omar Spates tonight is just absolutely a stud, came from Oregon State. Yes, what Hunter said, absolutely. Could not agree more.
Yeah.
I really think that Florida State has a talented team. I refuse to buy into them. Last season, you got a team that had never played together before essentially go in there. And then by the end of the year, it was totally different. I think they are dialed in. They're ready to go. And I really, really expect an absolute beatdown tonight. No bias.
Yeah.
George?
Well, I mean, okay. So let's do, before I get into my take, do we have the Cody, do we have the Hester tape? I think we need to play that, because I'm gonna piggyback on what he says.
Yeah, I got it right here. I'm gonna play it right now.
Do it.
Yo, what's going on? This is Jacob Hester, former LSU running back, here to tell you about a brand new college football podcast, the Golden Boot Podcast. Give it a listen, give it a try, give it a follow. They're going to work hard to be your new favorite podcast. Here to break down real quick the LSU-Florida State matchup coming up on Sunday. 2 words, Harold and Perkins. That's going to be the difference. This guy did not play on defense last year. Played 11 snaps, all on special teams. Florida State has not yet seen Harold Perkins, a guy that really took over college football at the end of the year last year. He is going to be the difference. He is going to wreak havoc on every team that he plays this year, including Florida State in that first game. They're a good team. Florida State is. Do not take me as saying that they are not. But LSU is going to find a way to win this one, because last year left a very bad taste in their mouth. Go Tigers.
Yeah, so and that was LSU.
Hey, congratulations, by the way, on you guys' podcast. My apologies.
Thank you
for cutting you off, but congratulations on that.
Oh, well, thank you. It really, we weren't even throwing that up there to promote ourselves. We just wanted you guys to hear Hester's take. But I tell you, I'm 100% in agreement, because looking at last year's tape, right? Florida State, they were getting pressured by LSU, but it wasn't overwhelming. Now, I'm going to take a little biased aspect. Arkansas knows an overwhelming pressure from Harold Perkins Jr., okay? When he came to Fayetteville and took over that game, that was something that we're not going to forget anytime soon. And that's why I'm going to agree with Jacob Hester. I think Harold Perkins Jr. is going to be the difference in this game. And I think, Jordan Travis is a phenomenal quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's going to make plays, but he's going to have to make them quicker with Harold Perkins on the field. And it's not just going to be him. I think LSU's linebacker crew is going to get in there. Honestly, I don't think Florida State has a bolstered offensive line, because LSU came on at the end of the year last year, and I think that we'll see that same product on the field. So, but I think they'll be calling Harold Perkins Jr.'s name a lot tonight.
So, Cody, I have a question for you. Is this the push for Daniels and maybe a possible trip to New York for a Heisman Trophy ceremony?
I could see that happening. I think that this is a game that he needs in terms of building that resume. I mean, he will have other chances throughout the year, but if he just drops an egg tonight and looks absolutely terrible, I mean, it's hard to just redeem yourself after that. And I feel like all the work he's put in this summer, and really just in the off season in general, I feel like he's ready to take that next step to be the quarterback that he was looked at coming out of high school.
You told me before we went live earlier today, you said you wasn't going to predict the score because it's common sense on who's going to win the ball game. You standing by that pretty good?
I didn't want to give a score, but I'm going to be honest. I think LSU will score over 40 points tonight.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yes.
wow. That's Quote that.
Quote it.
Golly.
Clip it.
Y'all heard
Use
that?
it. Use it against me or for
Hey,
me.
hey,
40
he has
points,
said
man.
they would score over 40 plus points tonight over FSU. We have to imagine that
Can I counter
if they
that?
score 40 points, it could be a boring game overall, unless
It could
FSU
be.
is going to match them for basket. For touchdown.
Can I counter that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one thing we know about Jaden Daniels is if you get him off of his first read, it causes massive problems for the LSU offense. I think this game is going to be decided by the Florida State secondary. If they force him off, if they can force him off that first read, LSU's in trouble. We saw what happened last year. Florida State absolutely dominated the first half against LSU. They took their foot off the gas, started trying to run the ball some more, and it allowed LSU to get back in the game. I don't think Florida State makes that mistake again this year. I think they get up. I think they maintain that lead. They keep their foot on the gas. I think Florida State wins it going away. I'm going to say 35-24.
Can I share a message with Chris real quick?
You sure can.
Chris, you're about full of shit. Chris, you're about full of shit.
Hey,
listen, hang on.
Family-friendly show, sir. This is a family-friendly show.
It's a family-friendly show. No, I wanted to say something because when the highlights were rolling, it's funny. You said, "Oh, when Jaden Daniels doesn't get his first read," and the play
Chris,
was him standing at the end zone, at the goal line, and he goes check 1, 2, 3, and throws a touchdown. So, I mean,
it's not all the time. It does cause him problems to get off the first read.
Films don't lie.
Chris, you're about full of shit.
Okay. All right, that's good for that. Chris, you bring up that point that if he doesn't get his first read, then you can throw him off. He had all year to work on that and the off season. So, maturity and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
But is it really maturity when you have your entire team beating the hell out of each other in practice? They were literally having to be removed from the practice field because they were fighting each other. Is that real team?
At LSU?
Yes.
I guess
knows.
I guess it was the humidity up there or something. They was just angry.
It's passion.
I guess that's what it was. Hey, I bet you anything those guys got together before practice and said, "Look, we don't feel like practicing today, so let's just start some fights so they can tell us to go home for the day."
3 or 4 days in a row that happened, though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then, hey, LSU. Can you imagine what they gonna do to FSU tonight? Then, if they got that, they got that much pent up anger, they get ready. They get ready to run over FSU, just like that.
It's a fair take.
We'll see.
It's gonna be a good game tonight, man. It is. Yeah. So
I'm interested to see how the LSU's offensive line is going to be. I think that's going to be the difference in this. If their offensive line looks shaky, it's going to be a long night for LSU. But really, that's any team. But I think if Jaden Daniels does not have the time to do what he does, I don't know if they have a backup plan, and we'll just have to see.
I have a question for everybody. Go ahead, Cody. No, Cody, go ahead.
Is that LSU does return the entire offensive line from last year. Two of those guys were true freshmen last year. I feel safe. I feel comfortable with them. I trust them.
Okay.
So I have a question for everyone. For the sake of the SEC being dominant league conference, does LSU need to win this game to keep that going, or is that a small tarnish if we don't win tonight? If the SEC doesn't win tonight,
I'll be quick on mine. I think honestly, 2 years in a row, if they lose to FSU, yes, they need to win this game.
Okay, Chris.
So, I guess I'll go next. If they want to keep pace with the Pac-12, Florida State has to lose this game. LSU would have to win because right now the Pac-12 is the only team or the only conference that's undefeated against all out-of-conference opponents. The SEC's got 2 losses out of conference already. So if you want to keep that conference supremacy going, it's a must-win for LSU.
I think so. Dude. Mike, what do you think? Is Mike shaking his head? I don't think he agrees with you. Does LSU need to win this game tonight just to continue that the SEC is the best conference?
First, I just got to say, Chris, your Pac-12 stuff, dude. No way, dude.
You mean the Pac-2?
They are about as relevant as France's army. Okay, dude.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
I mean, are you going to say that when Cal beats Auburn next week?
They got 2 teams. They got 2
when
teams.
Cal beats, it's Auburn. It's Hugh. Hugh Freeze is going to be too worried about his girlfriends.
It's Cal.
Oh God.
I got something.
Here's the thing. I think it helps, but until the SEC starts getting beaten in the playoffs, we're going to we can still pound our chest like Donkey Kong and say we're number 1.
Yeah.
That's a fair take.
Yeah.
Fair take.
What you got, Indy? I
honestly have to agree with Chris. The Pac-12 is very good this year. And the ACC it's pretty dang good too.
Yeah.
So I would really like to see LSU just wipe the floor with Florida State tonight. That'd be a very, very big statement and make the SEC the king, bar none.
So
Pac-12 owns college football, Indy.
and let me just say, there's 3 games on the horizon that I think are going to tell a lot about where the SEC is at this year.
Yeah.
You got LSU and Florida State tonight. Next week you got Vanderbilt and Wake Forest, Cal and Auburn. If Vanderbilt
and Texas and
Texas and
Alabama.
So that's 4 games on the horizon that is going to say a lot about where the SEC's at. If Vanderbilt goes into North Carolina and lays an egg against Wake Forest, are you going to say that the SEC, the bottom of the SEC is better than the bottom of the ACC? No, you're not going to say that. Same thing with Cal and Auburn. So I think it's going to be interesting tonight and next Saturday how things play out.
Yeah, it's going to be real nice. Looking forward to that.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what Vandy. Do I really got to cheer for Vandy though? Against Wake Forest?
Oh God.
Oh boy.
No, you just cheer against Wake Forest. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Against those guys. So in our last segment, we're going to be doing the what is it, George? The irrelevant games, the overreaction.
Yeah.
I think it's overreaction. Yeah, we're going to do the overreactions. And I know you got one in particular. So what you got?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I was just going to. So what's playing on the screen? Listen. Everybody come in close. Do not overreact on Ole Miss over Mercer. Okay? Don't do it. Jackson Dart, he had a day. All right? He did. But if you look at what Mercer put on the field defense-wise, man, it was awful. Bad takes, bad routes. I mean, there was penalties all over the place. And Ole Miss made them look like a little league team, and that's how they played. So, I mean, I get it. Yes, they scored 73 points. That's awesome. Great. Mercer was that bad offensively. Mercer was that bad defensively. I don't have time of possession in front of me, but it was ridiculous. I mean, Mercer could not move the ball. Now, does that say something about Ole Miss's defense? Sure. They bolstered down. They kept them off. But I just pump the brakes. We're in week 1 here, and I see all kinds of stuff of, Ole Miss is going to have the best defense in the SEC. Whoa, slow down. They're playing Mercer. Let's wait for a few weeks and see if they can keep. I mean, he was wide open. He's wide open. There's 4 guys there, and none of them are close enough to close in. I mean, like that was all game. They had no pressure. Mercer had no pressure, and we saw Jackson Dart struggle when he's got pressure in his face. Put an SEC defense in there and see if they score half as many points. And I'm telling you, this is my overreaction of the week right here.
I have a rebuttal.
I knew you would. I knew you would.
I'm glad I'm sitting down.
Really? Really?
So you're saying this about Ole Miss and saying it's Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
Mercer is better than Alabama A&M.
Mm-hmm.
They're better than Southeast Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
They're better than UMass.
Mm-hmm.
They're better than New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't you saying the same things about these other teams that had blowout wins against lesser competition than Mercer?
I'm glad you didn't say Western Carolina.
Well, Western Carolina too. They're horrible.
Listen, I'm not saying.
What is a catamount anyway?
I don't know what that is. The verdict is still out. I'm not saying that Ole Miss should not get credit. They should get credit. But I'm saying the overreaction is all these people saying that Jackson Dart for Heisman. And
he did it in a quarter.
I'm like, come on, guys. I know that. But
296 yards in one quarter.
Erase Mercer from the equation. You put any of those teams you just mentioned, and the same thing would have happened. They're all the same caliber type teams. That's all I'm saying. It's too much. You can't this is a major overreaction to say, hey, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss is the team to beat in the SEC week 1. No, I mean that's almost okay. So if you want to go that route, look over on the West Coast and look at
possession.
What?
Your time of possession. Mercer had the ball for 35 minutes. Ole Miss had it for 24.
Okay. Well, yeah, because they're doing hurry up offense, quick, and they just had no defense. But like, okay, so let's look on the West Coast. 81 points scored by Oregon. Are we going to say that they're going to be in it for the contender? Are they going to be in the college football playoff?
Oregon is a legit threat to make the playoff. They really are.
So, see, that's what I'm saying. Like that, we're in week 1 and we're jumping to that kind of conclusion. That's all I'm saying is just pump the brakes. It's way too fast to say, okay, yep, Ole Miss scored all these points, but I'm saying.
Oregon is going to be in contention for the Pac-12 championship this year. They're going to be in contention for the college football playoff position. They're that good.
Oregon will choke. We know who the quarterback is. He's from the SEC. They will choke. Caleb Williams will destroy them.
They might do it, but your teams in the out west, USC, Oregon, Utah, they're all going to be in contention for a playoff spot.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the overreaction I have.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
We got one more. Indy, you have you have 1 too as well, right? Overreaction.
I sure do. Mine's going to be short and sweet because you guys talked a lot.
Okay.
So
sorry.
I'm just going to say I'm going to throw some shade at Texas A&M.
Ooh.
You guys are still not good. You beat New Mexico. New Mexico is garbage.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anybody who's coming out, anybody who's coming out saying Texas A&M is going to be great, they're actually supposed to be in the top 25. No, you're not. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Short and sweet. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Jimbo Fisher.
Bobby Petrino. Petrino who, man?
Oh, well, there's our overreactions right there. We appreciate that. Definitely we'll have more of that next week because I know people's going to start playing stupid throughout the year. So we would definitely have more intakes on that. So one last thing before we get out of here. We represent Dogs College Media Network. We work with those guys, and those guys have actually created an app. Chris, what is this app all about for college dogs?
Yeah.
So College Football Dogs has created an app. It's going to be called College Dogs Unlimited. It's going to cover college football to begin with. There are talks of other things. We'll get into that at a later date. But Hunter, do you have a video that describes what this app is?
College football dogs. By the fans, for the fans.
That's going to be pretty dope, man. Now, I have a question. I'm not sure if you can answer me or not. Is this going to have, like, when you guys do, because I know, like, you, George, do you write for them too as well?
Yes, I do.
George writes for them.
Mhm.
Cody. Cody is the graphics guy that does a lot of graphics for him. And Indy, you write for him as well too. I'm not sure if you do, Mike. Do you write for him?
Not yet. I'm going to get on that because I've got a few things I would like to say. So
that's cool.
That's my goal.
So as you can see, a lot of us we're in it. We're in this football college dogs right now, and these guys are all writers for it. They're just going to continue just to make the app that much better. I'm telling you, this is not going anywhere, man. Like we're here. We're invested in this. We're invested in SECond2Nun. We're invested in dogs, and we're trying to make this the best that we possibly can. We have a good leadership team. Those guys are really, really working hard, continuously behind the clock, behind the scenes, to make this thing as big as it is. So, hey, check out that for sure. Look, we had a great show today. Okay, what's up, Chris?
I wanted to mention that will be available on Apple as well as Google Play Store for Android devices.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's big.
I'm Team Android, man. So let's do it, man.
Team Android, baby.
Me too. Team Android, right?
Hey, Team Android, baby. Team Android. I don't like that Apple thing, man. I don't like it. Hey, I had a burger the other night, and I feel like I want to have a burger right now. Should I go to Wendy's? Should I go to Burger King? Should I go to McDonald's to get me a hamburger?
Oh man, Burger King all day long. Burger King all day long. The Bacon King, yes.
See,
Hey, come over here. I'm about to throw some burgers right now.
You limit the choices.
I don't care.
If you want a good burger, you have to go to the pharmacy in Nashville or Scoreboard Bar and Grill. The best burgers in the city of Nashville, bar none.
I tell you what, that burger Friday night at Pharmacy was a really good burger. I always like me some good tots, man, some good tater tots.
Yeah.
Burger King for breakfast has the best hash browns. And sorry about this to go off topic.
Yes.
My fault, guys, but Burger King has the best hash browns for breakfast, better than McDonald's and everything. So, well, hey, sorry to go off course there just for a second. I just had to ask my teammates which one should I go get. So no one said Wendy's, so I'm gonna get Wendy's just because.
Sonic.
So Michael.
Oh, Sonic's is good with the onions. Got to get the onions on it. So
hey,
those are good too.
I know a thing or two about Sonic. Don't get me started.
Yeah, Sonic's is pretty good.
Let me ask a parting question for everybody. Just a one short, two-word answer. Ugly win or beautiful loss.
Ugly win all day.
I'm taking the ugly win because you can 30 up.
Ugly win all day.
Ugly win.
I will.
Ugly win.
Ugly win all day long. Yep.
No
so
problem.
before we get out of here, I'm gonna have our great Mike. He's gonna close us out tonight with his final thoughts. The floor is yours, Mike. What do you have for us?
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. People don't understand what the SEC means to Arkansas. I'm 52 years old. I grew up in the Southwest Conference. We hated the Southwest Conference. We hated playing Rice and TCU and Houston. SMU got the death penalty. Guys, the Southwest Conference was terrible. I remember when we announced the move to the SEC, we started playing All My Exes Live in Texas at home games. We would chant SEC, SEC whenever there was a bad call made at a basketball or football game. The SEC represented competition. It represented class. And you know, it means so much to the Razorback fans to be involved with a conference that is successful on so many levels, sports across the board, and it was. I'm glad we caused the death of the Southwest Conference. Texas coming in here, guys. You don't understand what's about to happen because we experienced it too much. That's why I have an upside down Longhorn tattooed on my leg. I hate those guys. I hate them. But
you're my spirit animal, Mike.
SEC baby, SEC baby. We love it, and we appreciate the SEC more than probably any other team just because of what we went through to get here.
Yeah.
So SEC. God bless. Y'all have a great week.
Appreciate that. And you heard that from Mike. Mike is our educator. So we appreciate that, Mike. And once again, guys, fellas, thank you guys so much for joining us today. LSU, we wish you guys the best of luck tonight. We need you guys to get that W. Behind the scenes, we got Hunter, our president of College Dogs, making sure everything went smooth for us. So appreciate that. And you guys have a great week. And I will see you guys same time, same place next week. I'm Mike, host of Second and None, and that's how we get down talking SEC football all day, every day. Appreciate that. We're out.
Go Tigers.
Go Cats.
Thank you.